Also ich habe das gelesen, das Interview mit Ihnen fand ich super spannend und habe mich dann natürlich hab ich geguckt, haben ja selber auch, Sie sind Raumfahrtingenieurin. Warum haben Sie nicht selber mal daran gedacht, ins All zu gehen?
Habe ich ja durchaus. Ich war immer zur falschen Zeit im falschen Alter für die Europäische Raumfahrtagentur, für die Auswahlen. Die letzte Auswahl, die in Deutschland war, da war ich zu jung, da war ich noch im Studium. Das war in den 80ern. Und dann wurde tatsächlich aus Deutschland keine Astronauten mehr ausgewählt, sondern die rückten nach, die damals in der Pipeline waren und wurden dann auch zur ESA geschickt, als das Ganze als Europäisches Astronautenkorps zusammengelegt wurde. Und die nächste Auswahl, wo man sich wieder bewerben konnte, war 2009. Und damals hatte die ESA das Maximalalter auf 37 festgesetzt und da war ich drüber. Und im Augenblick läuft eine Auswahl von der ESA, da haben sie das Maximalalter auf 50 erhöht und da bin ich wieder drüber.
Ah, ja. Okay, wir wollten es ja eigentlich in Englisch machen. Vielleicht ist das okay für Sie, ja?
Switch to English, yeah.
Okay. All these movies that show women that are older than 37 or even or men older than 50, this is really fiction, or it's not possible.
No, it is possible to fly in any age. I mean, it's no problem.
No problem.
As long as your body is fit, as long as you're physically fit, you can fly in any age. There's no difference.
There was an 80-year-old woman now going with Jeff Bezos, yeah. She's fine, I guess. I didn't hear any. So that's because you say in the interview that although the impact of gravity really is of no gravity is really hard on the body. I mean, so there must be an age problem somehow.
No, I mean, it depends. Maybe for a long-term mission, it's a bit more tiring if you're older, like everything is a bit more tiring. But in principle, the zero gravity is easier for you to live in. It's harder when you come back to readjust to Earth then.
Okay, you could even be pregnant.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't fly. I mean, it depends how far you are in the pregnancy. I mean, the launch is the most hard on the body, and that's only for some seconds, basically, maximum several minutes, like 5 minutes or something like that, where you have the high gravity load during when you when you exit the atmosphere and exit the gravity. Yeah. So for that, I mean, I wouldn't put a pregnant woman in a launch rocket right now.
Okay.
Because you have this 5G, and I'm not sure. I'm sure we don't have any data on what that makes on a pregnant woman.
I read that your fascination for the space was because you've seen directly in live the landing of the moon. I mean, there are people that say that we never landed on the moon. But what does it mean? What does it represent for you, space?
Well, for me, it's always about the feeling of, actively mindful feeling that we're living on this planet and that we're part of the universe.
So that'd be quite small compared to what there is, no?
Yeah, but quite small. And I mean, what I would love to have is this view from the moon or from ISS on the planet, this outside view, this looking from the outside. And this is the thing that always drives me, that always pushes me on, because that's what I would love to see myself.
So you're going to travel with Elon Musk or some of these new space tourism activities? I mean, you can do it. There's no age limit.
No, there's no age limit. I just need to be. I need to be able to afford it. I mean, it's
you need to be rich.
You don't have to.
You can start a crowdfunding.
Yeah.
But I heard a lot of people saying that, and I heard a lot of people saying that they would even leave everything behind to once experience that, so that it seems like a spiritual thing, even like that once in our life we want to see everything from above, and then everything will be easier, somehow that we would get the perspective. perspective.
Definitely. It will definitely make a huge difference. I mean, it's of course with Bezos and Branson, it's really short. It's like several minutes. So I don't know if that really makes this shift already in the brain, if you really come back with a new view of life, the universe, and everything. But space station definitely does it. That's clear. That's what all the astronauts have. They call it the overview effect, and they never feel, I mean, they always feel different with regard to the Earth and our planet and the universe.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that it changes a lot. I mean, therefore, I think the opinion about this space tourism is very divided. There's people saying we don't need that right now. We have really other problems. On the other hand, probably people that go there will realize how important it is to save the planet.
Yeah, and to work together on the planet and to stop fighting each other and to, get rid of borders and everything. I mean, it's so ridiculous when you look from the outside. What we're doing down here and how we're reacting with nationalism and all these type of things.
Yeah. But space industry is very nationalistic as well, because you said that there are like coups for nation-wise that can go on the international space battleship. So the next woman that can go from Germany, it is when?
Well, we're still hoping for next year. It's not the next. It's
the next, the first. Yeah, it's going to be the first. Yeah,
German woman. The first German woman. The next German man is going this autumn. That's already clear.
Okay.
Because he's sponsored by ESA, but for the first German woman, we don't have the sponsorship yet. We don't have the funding for the flight yet. As soon as we have the funding for the flight, we can go within 6 months because they have finished their basic training. They're ready for flight. They need to do a 6 months mission-oriented training in Houston, and then they can go.
The Americans are far more advanced with women going to space, no?
Yes, they have almost 50% in their astronaut corps, even though at the moment there's one woman in space together with 7 men. So it's always, I think it's tough to be the only one with 6 or 7 men for half a year.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, she's Muslim, I think, even, no? If I remember, I think she but it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter. Yeah. There is this, I'm always wondering how close is fiction to reality, because we don't know so much about space. But I was fascinated by the show called Away. It's a woman going to space, and it shows very good the difference, how she thinks about her disconnection with the family and everything and the rest of the crew. You think it's realistic?
Well, I was not fascinated by Away at all.
Okay.
I found it terribly stereotyped. Okay. I mean, it was absolutely stereotyped, and it was. I found it. I mean, once you are tested and you are the commander of a mission like that, you have to let loose your problems on Earth, no matter what happens. I mean, you have to be strong enough.
It's like dying a little bit, no?
I don't know.
It's a little bit like let it go, no?
Yeah, it's letting go. It's like letting go, like leaving behind. I mean, if you go to Mars, you have to go to Mars, and if you have to want to go to Mars, I mean, I would go tomorrow if they would ask me.
Yeah, even though you know that, because that was interesting in the series and in the show, that you know that there is a high chance that you won't go back. So that's really hard. You would do that.
Yeah. Especially now that I have so much life behind me already. I've lived so many things.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, it's definitely a pioneer thing. It's a pioneer spirit. That's, some people have that, and some people fortunately had that all through the centuries, and they always went to places where no one went before. And many of them died on the way, or
we don't know so much about it really, about the astronauts that died in space. You have any number?
I don't mean astronauts. Yeah. I mean people on Earth that went to discover new countries in the past centuries.
Yeah.
I mean, hundreds of people died on that way, and they did it anyway.
Mm.
And so I think it's just human to strive for new things and to go out and search new things.
And why Europe is so far behind in, I think it's Europe as a whole, no, not just Germany, to promote women in space.
Yeah, it's like in any other area. I mean, in the European Space Agency, the board of directors, they are 11 men and 1 woman. That's about the percentage, and they.
Has it to do with the studies that there are not many women studying?
I think that's an excuse. It's not true anymore. I mean, it's still 20-30%. That's about what it is in the studies, that women studying engineering type of things, but not everything is an engineering director. I mean, they also have an HR director and a legal director and
Okay.
areas where, and a PR director. Not all the areas are pure. The fact is not that there are no women in that area.
Yeah,
it's just because of we call it in Germany the Thomas effect, that people select similar. It's the confirmation bias, basically, that people like to select people who are alike like them and to come from the same. It's not the confirmation bias, it's the equality, the bias that makes you select people that are like you.
There are no studies required, to, or I ask you, not there are no studies required to be an astronaut. No, I mean, you don't have to be an engineer, or because some of the people that go are physicians.
Yeah, you don't have to be an engineer. You can be a doctor, a medical doctor, or you can be an astrophysics, a physician, a chemist. You have to have some scientific background.
Okay. And then you have a preparation of how many years?
I think the minimum necessary preparation at NASA would be 3 years. At ESA, it takes much longer, but that's because they don't have so many flights. ESA only possesses 8% of the International Space Station. So it has only 1 slot per year for an astronaut. And of course, they are booked over the years with the existing astronauts. So that's why they stretch the training over longer periods.
Should we invest more in space?
Yes, much more.
Yeah, because it's also a very controversial subject, because people think we have still people on Earth that suffer so many basic problems like dirty water, there's starvation. How would you, if you make a pitch, how would you explain why we should do that? Why we should be invest more?
Because we need space technology to solve these problems. Because we need maybe not necessarily astronauts, but we need satellites definitely. And we have a lot of them already that monitor the Earth, that find the water sources, that monitor and will hopefully help us also to reduce plastic in the ocean. To follow up, in agriculture, a lot of the processes, the growth, to find the places where you can grow different crops and so on. So there is a lot that can be done and is being done by satellites. Satellites that warn from fires, satellites that warn from earthquakes, that warn from droughts or floods or avalanches and so on.
Okay, the satellites, but which other things that we use right now and helped us on Earth were discovered in space? Can you give some examples?
Yeah, that's a lot of things that were developed originally for space and then adapted for use on Earth. For example, the how do you say that in English? The Akkuschrauber, the Akku.
But okay, that's not something really necessary, no?
Okay, I mean, then we go to the medical area.
Yeah,
I mean, in the medical area, if you have humans, if you have astronauts in space, you do a lot of medical research because you have less, you don't have gravity. So the whole system changes a bit. And for example, when you do osteoporosis research, which kicks in very, very quickly when you are in microgravity because your muscles go down and the calcium of the bones goes down. So you can do a lot of research, which is reversible. So astronauts get well again when they are back on Earth. But you can do a lot of research also on the treatment, how to, what is best to eat, how much salt in food, and so on, because you can monitor the whole body. You can monitor what the astronaut eats, and you can monitor the output afterwards. And you can get a lot of conclusions from that. And there's a lot of things in the body that you can measure better in microgravity because you have one component less in the equation. That's not only about the human body, but that's also in many areas of basic physical research.
Actually, the fact that you just mentioned the osteoporosis fact that you lose muscle force when you have been in space quite a lot. That was my thinking why there is an age limit somehow to go to space, because it's not so easy with age to recover muscle force.
You can do it. You just have to be disciplined.
Okay.
It's just a training discipline, basically.
Yeah. Germans should be really good in space because we're so disciplined, but then somehow we're not really playing a big role. So probably we need the women.
We are the biggest. Germany is the biggest country, the biggest payer, the biggest investor in the European Space Agency.
Yeah.
Yes, money-wise, but as you say, we're not playing a visible role, a real driving force there.
Yeah. Would you? I mean, you promote especially women. Would you call yourself a feminist?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Can you explain that? How is a feminist for space? Because here in Spain, there it became like a little bit like a bad word. Feminist.
Germany too, but I think I'm definitely am one, and I'm definitely standing to it. No, it was growing over the years. I mean, for many years I've been working as the only woman in male teams, and only when I look back I realized all the humiliation and the things, the sexism I had to stand through. I didn't even realize as a young girl that it was not normal, that I should be frightened by the fact that my professor tried to kiss me after dinner or things like that, which I thought, okay, I'm honored by that, instead of accepting it or realizing that this is sexism and all the other things that happened all along the way of my career. And this turned me into a real feminist in the end, because I just see, especially in the space field, as I just said, ESA has 11 male directors, one woman, that they just nominated last year. And it's just not doing anything against changing it. They hire a diversity responsible person, but then nothing else is changing. And the selection criteria for astronauts, they still highlight the fact that if you have been a firefighter or a rescue person or worked in something like that, then you get extra points. So there are still a lot of things in the whole process that discriminate women in one way or another, because you don't get extra points if you've been raising a family with 3 or 4 kids and managing your job on top of it, and in the COVID times and things like that.
Does your company promote in schools that girls are interested in these kind of subjects?
Yeah, we have it's not a department, but we have a person that is responsible for education projects, and we had just a first round of education projects that they went a lot into schools and did all that. In our company, it's always a matter of finance, so we always need to find a sponsor first. We need to find someone who finances the things we do.
Yeah.
Because I can't spend.
It's a great idea. I think already the name of the company is Astronaut. I mean, in English there is no female way to say astronaut. Yeah, even it's going to be the first transgender person soon, probably, hopefully, that goes to space. Yeah, it will be very interesting to see. How probably is the impact on persons with hormone treatments and stuff like that. So yeah, I wish you all the best for your work, and it's just for Germany, no? You're not helping women in Europe somehow in general, no? It's just for
Well,
Germany.
I've been also the founder of Women in Aerospace Europe
Mm-hmm.
more than 10 years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been running as a chairperson there for more than 8 years. So I've been doing a lot for women in general. But now I'm with the first German astronaut. I'm concentrating on Germany. And
Okay.
we also developed a lot of trainings, coachings, management trainings out of the training that we did for the first female German astronaut. And we're offering that now on the market, not only for space engineers, but for every woman who wants to be a leader.
Okay. Thank you very much. And yeah, you are planning to go to the space with these shuttles, or are you saving money for it? Or
I'm not saving money. I'm trying to get rich.
okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a nice week.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye.
Tschüss. Danke.